为数不多经济高速发展的同时，又能有效遏制腐败蔓延的国家。
Singapore is good at fighting corruption and has clean and efficient civil servants. China now is in the process of anti-graft campaign. What should be the next step? And any lessons can China learn from Singapore?
I think China's circumstances are very different from ours. Your scale is much different from ours. In Singapore, what we have tried to do is to have strict rules, to have transparent systems, so that if there's an exercise of discretion, it cannot be completely without checks and balances. But there will have to be some accounting. How was this discretion exercised? Why was it exercised this way? If anybody is discovered to be corrupt or suspected to be corrupt, we will investigate it and we will bring him to justice, however high up or sensitive a post he may hold. And at the same time, we make sure that we pay our civil servants properly, a wage commensurate with the quality of the officer and commensurate with the responsibilities which they hold, so that there is minimum temptation for them to do something on the side in order to take care of the family. But it has to go together. You pay people properly, but at the same time you must hold people to high standards and bring them to account and justice if anybody does anything wrong. And in the last couple of years we've had a few cases, quite prominent, some to do with sex, some to do with money, quite senior officers. It embarrassed us, but it cannot be helped. We have to follow through. You cannot be limp-wristed.
Actually, a clean government is a dream of China. So you mentioned about the accountability and the high payment. You said it's both together important,
yes.
But which one is more important? Yeah.
I think you need both, and I think both are very difficult to do. Because to pay people well, you have to be able to justify and defend, and there's always a public sense that in the public sector you ought to take a sacrifice. And to some extent that is true, but if the sacrifice is too great, it's not realistic, the system will not work. Expecting high standards is also not easy because people have careers and livelihoods, and it's never a light decision to decide that somebody is not up to the mark and you have to move him out or maybe remove him from the service altogether.
Yeah, but what should be done at first? Because the high payment means credibility. If the officials, civil servants have no credibility, people cannot accept to pay them that high.
Yes.
But yeah,
so it's a chicken and egg problem.
Chicken
you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere. You could start with one place. You could start with one service. In some countries, they have tried to do it, starting with the finance ministry, with the customs, with the immigration people, where you've got more opportunities to be tempted. There's no easy solution, but I see that China is taking it very, very seriously and catching tigers as well as flies.
Really hard.
It's very hard.
李显龙的父亲李光耀自1959年起任新加坡总理，直至1990年退休，但仍担任内阁资政。此后14年内，总理一职则由吴作栋担任，直到2004年李显龙接任，至今也近10年。半个多世纪以来，新加坡政治被打上了深深的历史烙印。
So can you comment that what is the pros and cons of having long-term premiers?
Well, we have been lucky the last 50 years. We have had political stability and continuity in our system. So we have had turnover, new blood, new generations brought in, new ministers, new prime minister. But at the same time, we've had continuity. So as you change in a smooth way. You don't have sudden jerks and bumps, and you avoid accidents. Mr. Goh Chok Tong was in politics for more than 10 years before he became Prime Minister. I was in politics about 20 years before I became Prime Minister. I think we were very privileged to have that long period of exposure, to learn what Singapore is about, to learn what the responsibilities are if you are in politics. And also for people to learn about you and to get to know you and to know your strengths and weaknesses and where you stand, what sort of person you are. So when you take over, people know. There's no surprise, there's no anxiety. but there's a smooth change of gears. We hope to have hope to have similar continuity going forward, but I think it would be a very great luxury to have prime ministers in future have 10 or 20 years of tutelage. I don't think we can guarantee that all the time.
Do you think there will be the third PM Lee after you and your father?
It could be. There are many Lees in the world. I think we are the most common surname in Chinese, amongst the Chinese. But I don't think that it goes in the family.
放眼世界，新加坡无论在经济地位还是国际关系中都面临巨大挑战。新加坡和香港被誉为亚洲比肩而立的金融双子星。新加坡一直将地理位置相近、同为亚洲金融与商贸中心的香港作为竞争对手，在税率制定、经济开放政策等方面，新加坡总是盯着香港不甘示弱。
And also some question related with China. What do you think of the competition